Welcome, Aquarius, to Mars in Taurus 6-week forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. From May the 18th through to June the 28th, Mars, the planet of action and drive, moves through the Earth sign of Taurus. We can talk about Mars in Taurus generally, but what will it mean for you personally? On screen, Aquarius, is your event chart, the exact moment that Mars arrives. All the other interplanetary influences provide a backdrop for the coming weeks. I'm going to unpack that for you, but also share with you two upcoming aspects. Through the last 10 days of May, a challenging one between Mars and Pluto, and through the last week of June, a truly positive one between Mars and Jupiter. At the end of the video, you'll have a clearer understanding of what's in store in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. On the screen now, Aquarius, is your event chart. And the thing to know is Mars is right at the roots of the chart. So it's on the nominal IC. Very much about how we feel about things, also about our immediate environment, can be about where we live, physical security, family, and emotional matters. But the sign of Taurus is very much about stability. It can be about foundations, our approach to everyday money, our self-worth and self-value. But it's going to be amplified in a more emotional context through the next 6 weeks by Mars. Mars is a more steady eddy energy in the sign of Taurus than in the sign of Aries, which it rules, which is very much about raw excitement. Here it wants to be very applied and persistent and can be therefore more patient. But like your sign, Taurus is fixed, and therefore Mars here can be a little bit unyielding once it gets an idea in its head, but that's not a bad thing, as I'm going to explain. So we've just had a new moon in the sign of Taurus. So that energy is still reverberating around the heavens. And that's very much about making sure that your emotional world and your sense of safety and security is enhanced. What Mars brings is a lot more urgency, even if the sign of Taurus slows Mars down a bit. So if you've been waiting, for example, for someone to turn up and do a job for you, and you're not getting them to attend, I think you're going to be very much on the case now. You're going to be want to find alternatives or ring those people, text them, and if they don't give you a satisfactory answer, you're not going to hang around. And at the end of the 6 weeks, some of the things you've been waiting to achieve, redecoration, new plumbing, changing this, that, or the other, it's all going to get done because you're going to be so determined to bring a change to your environment. But if we look at the other interplanetary influences, Venus, the ruler of the sign of Taurus, is just in a wonderful conjunction with the moon in your fellow a fellow air sign, of Gemini. And that's a very flamboyant, very affectionate link. And also Mercury, the planet of communication, is in an exact-ish conjunction with Uranus, your modern ruler, again in the fifth house. These are quite flamboyant energies. The sun is quite late in Taurus now, and we'll be joining up with these guys on the 21st of May, moving into Gemini and then connecting to Uranus for the first time in 78 years on the 22nd. So there is a sense of excitement going on, doing things in a different way, showing people just how visionary and quite brilliant your ideas can be. But you need to still run it through the prism of how does it feel? Because Mars in the fourth house is a really good thing in a way because it brings an anchor right to the bottom of your chart. And also, Venus is set to move forwards on Tuesday, the 19th, into Cancer, but it's actually in a perfect link to Mars in a sextile. So if you are wanting to change some of the practical elements of where you live, Venus can help you with the more decorative side of things. That's really encouraging. But the way you set your plan may have a spark of originality to it for sure. But what we're going to see as Venus moves deeper into the sign of Cancer, she's going to be joining up with Jupiter on the 9th of June, and that can be extremely positive if you're looking for a job. Equally, if you want to work from home or run a business from home, Mars being in this area can really give it an ignition point over this next six-week period. The idea itself may be very imaginative, but what Mars in the fourth house following on from that new moon is really seeing you seek is an adaptability so it suits your personal circumstances or the needs of your family if you've got one. But what we do have is through the last 10 days of May, Aquarius, Pluto in your sign is going to be coming into a crunching right angle with Mars. And if you encounter someone, maybe one of those contractors, who's not being very cooperative or collaborative, not understanding that you have to work around whatever they're doing, or it may be in the family, someone's not quite getting your circumstances, you could feel very tender because Mars in the fourth house can be quite triggered. It can be a little bit prickly. It's a kind of Mars in Cancer vibe. And if there is something, a point of principle that you feel strongly about, you're not going to budge through that last 10 days of May unless you really have to. But just be aware that sometimes we can dig our heels in, very Mars in Taurus, over a point of principle, but miss an opportunity because we're perhaps being a bit too idealistic. And that could be Pluto in Aquarius. But if we think about Pluto's strengths on this illustration, look at its link to Mercury and Uranus. So if you are wanting to re-engender a fresh way of living, as long as it feels right, you don't rush the process. There's a lot to like about this particular transit. I'm going to share each of those areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next. But just to say, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. It's now 3 for the price of 1. The one you pay for is your life roadmap. Helps you to understand the patterns that are playing out or have played out in your life so far. Get a more intimate understanding of them, but work with them better future forwards. 3, your 12-month transit forecast, and also your draconic soul karmic analysis. If you don't have in your natal chart the North Node late in Pisces or early in Aries, the draconic chart can look very different from your nativity. But it's a way of looking at ourselves, but also life in a more profound way, and also astrology too. Please see below for more. If you've yet to sign up for my free daily written horoscope, please take advantage of that to get your early day celestial pit stop. Please see below. And if you'd like to work with me one-to-one, absolute pleasure. If you've yet to watch your May monthly forecast, that's on the screen. Your Uranus 78-year solar return in the sign of Gemini and the Cazimi. Now to summarize those areas. If your focus at the moment is very much on home and family practical issues, Mars here is going to give you such a lot of determination to get all those tasks done that have been outstanding. For some Aquarius people, that could even be moving home altogether. There could be some conflict towards the end of May, unfortunately. If someone you encounter is being very unyielding, or you do take a little bit of an intractable position on a situation too. So a bit of stubbornness can show up through the end of May. But when it comes to your work situation, if you're looking for a job, your prospects look very bright, particularly the first 10 days of June. If you're wanting to be more creative, whether it is around a home-based enterprise or it is about having more interaction socially and romantically, a lot of extra buzz is coming your way. But Mars and the energy of that new moon in Taurus are asking you to stay Earth, computate what the value is of things to you, and also does it feel right, and that will help you to get through. In terms of your energy, having Saturn and Neptune in the third house can be the nervous system. It is something that can be a little bit of a tender point for Aquarius people generally. It will need looking after over the next couple of years. But I think Venus moving into the sixth house, joining up with Jupiter, would be a great time to treat yourself to some lovely therapeutic massages, spa days, all those kind of spoiling things as you go into June, and that can revive your energy. But right at the end of June, we have that stunning sextile between Mars and also Jupiter. And whatever it is that you want to reform or improve on, you're going to see the results as the cosmic curtain comes down on June. Thank you so much for joining me. All the best, and look forward to seeing you again soon.